Go, go.
All
Good
right.
evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you for
Yes.
tuning in to Community Updates and Enlightened Hearts. I'm your host, Michelle White. This is your host, Regina Hall. And today we have Mr. Wynn, who's a financial strategist and going to be sharing some great information. But as we always inform you, bring your paper and your pencil. As we get started, we like to give you great information to help you in the community. One of the things we're going to be sharing is that registration starts now, at least at Wayne County Community College District. Classes start May the 15th.
All
So you can
right.
start to register for classes right now. Even fall registration starts on Monday. So get in early, get your registration going. But then there's also a program that is called the Academic Catch Up. So if you're a student that is maybe having a little trouble, a high school senior having a little challenge with getting caught up with your grades and getting that you want to enter into college, you can contact Miss Diane Gonzalez at
Okay.
313-496-2858. Again, that's 313-496-2858. Or the other direct dial number is 313-496-2345. So maybe for you, your children, they need to gain some new math and writing skills for their academic success. They want to transition from being a senior right into college, but maybe they've had some challenges. We have the academic catch-up program. It helps you to earn up to 6 college credit hours. So give Miss Diane Gonzalez a call at 313-496-2345 or 496-2858. Give her a call today. Get your high school senior in so that they can have a better academic success on the road to their college journey.
Yeah.
And so we tell you every week about Ready Refresh.
Yes.
You know, every time I think I was sharing with you that even where I work, the water is brown on the weekends, and they have to
Oh.
flush everything. Our water systems around the country are not what they used to be. So, you know, we don't need to drink it. We don't need to bathe it. We need to be careful. Ready
Mm-hmm.
Refresh offers you a water filtration system that you can have right in your home. It's very inexpensive, like $30 for every 5 months. They'll bring you 5 gallon bottles of water, but even the dispenser comes right to your door. Give Ready Refresh a call at 248-798-0232. Again, that's Ready Refresh, 248-798-0232, and your water will come right to your door. And I think that was it for the community updates. I know I'm missing something. There was something else, a piece of information that someone gave me. People are starting to send me information. Oh, the play. The play from the artist that we had
Yes.
on, Marriage. Uh,
Yes.
I can't remember.
I cannot
But
remember it.
anyway, that play is coming up. Tickets are still available.
Mm-hmm.
Married with Single Intentions.
Exactly. Yes.
Tune in, go to God's World or the other bookstore that's by Straight Gate, and you can get tickets. Married with Single Intentions. Go and get your tickets today. It sounds like an exciting play. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah.
Some of our guests won tickets to go and see that play. Married with Single Intentions. Go to God's World. Get your tickets today. And so, Mr. Wynn, I'm going to let Miss Regina's going to tell us some things about Mr. Wynn, and we're going to be talking. Uh,
Well, before we get into that, I just
yes,
want to
ma'am.
mention this is National Mental Health Awareness
Mm.
Month, and the focus of it is anxiety.
Yeah.
It says 19.1% of the United States, people in the United States, are dealing with anxiety, which is 40 million people in the United States. That's a
Wow,
lot of
that's a
people.
lot of people.
A lot of people. And so we just want you to know that Enlightened Hearts and community updates, as well as my guest today, can really relate some experiences and some resources to you today. I just want to let you know that Michael Wynn is a habit success strategist. And I do want to put that out. He's an author, he's a speaker, and he's been doing this for over 35 years of experience in financial auditing, business compliance, and grant monitoring. During his career, his inspiration led him to get certified as an authentic coach. Authenticity, I guess, is the better word, right? Authenticity is the better word, coach, yes. And he is the founder of this and CEO of Wingate. I was teasing him earlier about that. Associates, LLC, and Coach Win. So he teaches, he consults, and trains both individuals and business team on financial literacy as well as professional development. And so I want you to step in right now, Mike, and just give us, how did you even, we talked about the 35 years, but becoming a coach.
Yeah, first, it's a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to be in the community to express our uniqueness and talent. But I actually started out my career in finance for 30 years. Started out as an auditor. I started out working as business compliance. But what led me to becoming a habit success strategy is just like all of us, you said mental awareness. Mental awareness took me by surprise. In my long career, I was actually selected as the first auditor in charge of the first casino here in Detroit. So I had an enormous amount of responsibility coupled with my business as I worked in finance, my own private business as well as a licensed builder. So what I was experiencing during my working years was that I had a disorder that I ignored. And my disorder was a bipolar depression disorder that I fought for a long time and realized that I had to find out what it was. And once I found out about it, I was on some powerful drugs. And those drugs led me to feel down and out, more depressed than anything. Yeah. So finding a way through that, lithium, Prozac, Depakote, I had an awesome therapist. And this therapist actually identified my uniqueness with habits, my uniqueness to build foundational jobs and work with habits. Although that I had these other problems working with them, I led myself to believe that at one point in time that this would be me listening to the doctors, that I would be on this medication for a long time until I took the opportunity to actually map out or visualize my faith, which I talk about in one of my books. And I actually came across some habits, some unique habits to help me get off of the medication.
Wonderful.
So in doing that, my story I always like to start with becoming a habit success strategist was a coin from Maya Angelou said, once the healing takes place, go out and heal someone. So I became a habit success strategist to help people identify habits in their job, in the areas that they work in. Mine's being had a background in finance and experiencing when you go through depression and you go through bipolar, a lot of things didn't matter. You're talking about going bankrupt, losing a house. All those things were easier to do for the average person that knows when they have a disorder that they ignore those things. So experiencing those things and having a background was devastating. And then going to work and finding a way to put on this other false face was a tremendous, because we're talking about overseeing millions of dollars. So I had one hat on and I had another hat on. So once I realized that now that I am an asset to many, I created a habit matrix, which I live by. And that habit matrix, which helped me cure myself, led me to write my first book, Habits Don't Lie.
Before you tell us about habits, the habit effect and habits don't lie, I love that you said that you, number one, you were healed by your faith and you saw the vision about you being healed. And in the Bible, in Deuteronomy, when Moses was getting ready to go out into the wilderness and didn't kind of want to do it, God said, see the vision and walk in it.
Yes.
So we have to see ourselves beyond what the doctors will say, beyond what life circumstances will try to dictate to us that this is just your life. We have to see differently. And then you said your faith led you on. I love that because it's a faith walk. And sometimes we miss that part, or we think that sounds too churchy. But we're spirit beings. But I want our callers to even call. And we have people that are listening right now that might not
Absolutely.
identify that they might have bipolar tendencies.
Absolutely.
And those medications can be really, you have to find, when people that are bipolar are on the medication, they have to find the right balance in the one that works for them, and it's a challenge.
It's a
So
challenge.
we want you, if you've got, maybe think you might have some bipolar disorders, feel free to call in, share with Michael Wynn and our therapist, Regina Hall here. Well, you can call us at 313-355-6018. You had to first identify the problem before you could become healed from the problem.
Absolutely.
Is that right? So
Absolutely.
call in tonight, callers. We've got some callers are even going to call in and tell us about some events and things that are going on. But the number here to reach us is 313-355-6018.
Yeah.
And I want people who can maybe even help identify with what you're sharing, and then talking about the habit effect. And the other book, what was the other
The
book?
first book was The Habits Don't Lie. That was my foundational
And
book.
that
Yeah.
helps us leave a legacy.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell
Yeah.
us about that.
Yeah, it's because what it is in being a man is the statistics of being having a bipolar or any disorder. We don't talk about it. Our health issues are not there. So once I realized that I had to uniquely think through this whole process, my habits don't lie was something that I came up with after I realized that I had these unique habits of visualizing faith, be real. That was the authenticity in me. I had to understand myself first, and then target success, because once we realize, as any being, when we take on responsibility, we want to target work with the areas that we want to be in. So the other habit that I had is know money, understand money, that whole process, live health, that whole process, because you can't have money without health. They go together. You can't have, and that whole process of understanding, why am I this way? What do I do about it? It's not about trying to move up the ladder without having a way of understanding how to balance, when something go wrong. When do we go see the doctor? How do we fix it? So, and then, of course, I had Just Win, is the visualization of all of those habits that was coming together. I believe, not just because my last name was Wynn, that I had to find a way to get through it.
Yeah.
And once I got through it, I repeat. I think repeat was my last habit. So what I
You
did with
said
those,
repeat.
think, repeat.
Think, repeat.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Tell us, what is think, repeat?
And that whole process of redo. When you understand, you're going through affirmations, going through a process of
Speaking positive. You were speaking positive affirmations, speaking life.
impactful
Yes.
resume. Because when you use affirmations, you just don't use simple you gotta own it. You gotta own the
Yes.
feeling every day. I have processes. I don't turn the TV on for 2 hours just to avoid. If there's anything that I need to do with my computer or my so I just don't do it the first 2 hours of the day. I have to set the intentions with my meditation and my prayer, every single day. And you find a way through working out, drinking water, whatever process you have in your habit matrix, and then you go through that process to think, repeat.
Yeah.
So, what I did is I just kept building ways and steps that I had to take.
Well, let me just stop you there for 1 second,
Sure.
because
Sure.
a lot of times people don't really realize that we have to start building new behaviors, right? And I do want to invite the callers in and
Sure.
really begin to throw questions at us, because what does that mean? If you may have family members, or you yourself may be struggling through some things, and the stigma of mental illness, but let's just call it mental well-being, because people are going through a lot out here, period.
Yeah,
Right?
people, you're
And they're
absolutely
killing
right.
people.
They are,
like,
because they
in
think they
droves.
feel one way. So
Yes.
the thing that I'm not going to claim to be a therapist, but I can tell many people that experience a problem is that the medication they put you on, the side effects is doom and gloom, because it puts you down. It
Puts
takes
you down.
the balance
can,
that you
yes.
seek for, because I believe my doctor, bless her heart, she looked at me as this big guy, this football player that had
play
aggression.
football?
Yes,
Okay.
that had aggression. So let me give him this medication to keep him where he can feel comfortable. But no, the impacts of the medication had so much sadness, loneliness, and those things that you go through. You hear people that commit suicide had all those tendencies there because you don't feel
Yeah.
that you can control how you want to be. And in that whole process, you do things. You don't have any. My background being finance, you don't have the serious level that you should have with money. You don't have the serious level of relationships. You
Yeah.
create chaos until you find a way that you want forgiveness after doing things. You know, when you talk to people after
Yeah.
the fact, it's just an ongoing thing. So,
Right.
so to go back to your question as far as when Think Repeat came in, is once I realized that I found a way, I realized in doing my research with habits, this habit loop that starts with the clue, the reward, the loop itself gets you to the place that you want to be. So you have to understand that it takes. It's not necessarily, some people say 21 days for a habit, 66 days. It's doing it more than once and creating a feel that you can do this more than once. And once you start creating this loop, you feel, okay, I can do this. And you kind of put that aside to, this is how I'm going to visualize it. This, I can already see me
That's
getting out
great.
of it.
I love that because when you talk about a cycle, right? We look at
Yeah.
cycles as being, you just getting on that hamster wheel, right?
Right.
You're creating, chaos in your life. That's cycles. But when you flip it and think about the positive side of that, right?
Yeah.
Where you can cycle positive affirmations, you can
And energy.
yeah,
Energy.
you can do that. Then you're
Yeah.
creating, you're eliminating chaos from your life.
Right.
And so, just even inviting our callers to even talk about that. What makes you happy?
Yeah.
What makes you get on the wheel and keep turning and turning? So,
And what are some of the habits, that people do? And then what are some of the habits? Can callers tell us about some of the habits that they do to remain positive? Everybody has to find
have to.
different things that they do, whether it's speaking positive affirmation, getting up, exercise,
Yeah.
whatever it is, to keep positive energy and motivation so that we can stay right mentally.
What I found when I was going through my home process as a motivational speaker, even fighting what it was I was going through, but once I realized that I had to be consistent, some folks in my family or friends, they had to get out my circle. I spent
Okay.
time when I worked in a casino in a stairwell just to avoid certain times of the day. We had responsibilities. I was the top person, so
Yeah.
I didn't really want, at that time, they didn't know, but I didn't want to hear nothing negative. The outside of, I take conditions in terms of how operations work, and then I just have negative talk. When people, you can't make an assumption about a person doing something because it's negative if you don't know. This person is not trying to steal money. This person is not trying to create chaos. So I had to separate myself from people. I learned that, even from family members, even from friends, because I was building this environment of positivity. So once you keep going through that whole process, you find a way through it. And through that, I kept going and focusing back on my career as a financial. What I do have a financial background, so I wanted to really open up in my second book to look at the chaos that we was going through with financial literacy.
okay.
So when you talk about habits, what impact do you feel your books have had on financial literacy and mental awareness?
Well,
Yeah.
the part of overcoming obstacles, because when we lay foundations for, say, that bipolar disorder, you have to find out why you that way, what kind of cure you're gonna make. I found that habits, the impacts that habits have, that you'll find a way to keep doing things to either get out of something, avoid something, or see a better way of doing things.
Okay, so get out of something, avoid something, and see a better way of doing something.
Exactly.
Okay, so the first one is what?
Get out of something.
get out of
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So, but what I have found, Mike, is that people are more amped to stay with the status quo. So,
Yeah.
to, you know, keep doing what you're
Keep
doing,
doing what
expecting
they're
different
doing.
results.
That's, we do it
Exactly.
as professionals. We put on masks. We go through stuff and we hurt, and some of us hurt because we don't know how to respond to people. We don't. We get in. We create our own stress. Stress
Yes.
leads to depression, and that's
And then
the
some
part.
of the things that people verbally just speak out
Absolutely.
all day long.
Okay.
And you.
Oh my goodness! It's they saying repeating negative things or problems
And how
or,
you internalize
and
it.
how they and then they spread it in the room. I can't stand that. If it's a room with chaos, I speak peace to the room. I
You
don't
have
want
to-
to hear you in my ear all day long.
Yeah, I try
Okay.
to smile it away when I want to. I don't put a whole lot in it because once you start, the other person will put more into it, and then you find yourself in that little loop of trying to,
Okay.
figure out what somebody didn't tell you directly. You know, if they had a problem or whatever the situation was, you didn't know firsthand because of a rumor. So, but yeah, it was just certain things that I knew that my books would have an impact because the second book is financial, and we had we had chaos and how do you come across that? As you realize in America, the average it wasn't taught in schools. Personal finance wasn't taught in schools until this year. They passed a bill that is required to graduate with at least a half a credit. So taking that alone, we had to, how do you, in my mind, get people to understand the importance of avoiding certain stresses? Financial stress was high on the list.
Mm-hmm.
One
So
of the
in
big
doing
things
so-
that breaks up marriages
Absolutely.
and relationships, financial
Absolutely.
stress.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, when you think about because you talked about losing a home, right? Or you can even lose jobs, right? Or some people just the way they handle their finances is just racking up credit cards.
Right.
So, what has been the most, problems you have had in helping?
What I did here,
Okay.
one of the problems.
And what's
that I
your book
identified,
name
The
again?
Habit Effect.
Okay.
Is I bought in light that let people know this is a continuation of Habits Don't Lie. That what you're seeing is understanding the value. So you have a habits of value, understanding, design, focus, follow success, and keep. So understanding the values. Understanding financial stability, what it is. Okay, that's part of when people say I need help. How do I help? First, I want to find out as far as marriages, as far as family, having those kitchen table conversations.
Okay.
Financial stability it's not financial freedom until you find a way to pay your bills. Just pay the bills with the money that you have.
But how are people really having kitchen table conversations, or are they on their phones
Yeah,
That
well,
talking
is-
in front of the
That is
television?
so interesting
Yeah.
because
Back in the day, we had to sit down
Yeah.
and have family time, table, dinners, or even watch certain programs as a family because we didn't have all the cell phones. But nowadays,
and that's what you have to bring back. You're right. They
Yeah.
don't. And those are the conversations and those are things that you have to build because we learn at some point in time. I know I can speak for my age, being 60, almost 65, that we sat down and said we had to make our next move. We didn't have a lot of money, so we had to make our next move. We had a game plan.
Okay.
You have to start out that way.
Right. So you need a plan.
You need a plan.
Yes.
You actually
and
do
you
it.
said
Then
write it down.
yes. And in here, what I talk about in the habit effect is first understanding how do you reach the value, understand the value, and then focus on understanding. That's where your habit loop comes in place. What is it that you want that you're willing to do when you bank accounts?
You got a caller that's got a question for you.
Sure.
Hello, caller. Caller, are you there? We can't. Are you there, caller?
Michelle?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. This is Lion Ron and Lion Lawana calling in to say hello and to say hello to your guest.
Hello.
And
Thank
we
you for
were-
calling in. I think you wanted to share an event that you have upcoming. I'm
Yes,
also a
I'm sorry,
Lions
I
Club
wanted to
member,
call
Lions
a
Club
little earlier,
International.
but I wasn't able
And
to
we
get
have an
through.
upcoming event Why don't you tell us a little bit about that event?
Well, on May
We can barely hear you. Can you hear us? I think the event is on May the 21st, and it's going to be at
You don't have information, nope.
no.
Maybe you could try calling back because we can't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, try to call us back. I know the event is May the 21st. It starts at 6, and it's at, what's the church? The NAACP Men's Church on the auditorium?
Oh, fellowship.
Fellowship Chapel.
Yeah.
And the tickets are $60. And the Lions Club has not had many African Americans in their organization. For it's a very old organization. I forget when it started, like 1890. Reasons this is a fundraiser, and it's a historical fundraiser for this particular group of people because they're one of the oldest black organizations in the Lions Club. And there's some other things that they know that they weren't able to couldn't hear them share. But yeah, if you're interested in getting tickets, it's May the 21st. It'll be at Fellowship Chapel. It's 6:00 p.m. and the tickets are $60, and you can go to MetroDetroitLions.org and purchase tickets. And they have an Eventbrite with Detroit Renaissance Club, an Eventbrite app thing that you can purchase tickets.
In order for high schools to students to graduate, they have to have personal finance.
That's
We
wonderful.
start with a half a credit in 23, 24. I mean, but it's something.
So it goes
Yeah.
towards their college credits?
They
high school.
have
Their
to
high
high
school
school.
credit.
They
Right.
cannot graduate without that.
Okay, without
curriculum.
that.
It should have been in place for a long time.
Yeah,
because
very long
when you're
time.
talking about writing banks, Cash App is not a bank. When you're
Yeah.
talking about writing checks and trying to understand how to buy homes, what I did is just identify just simple ways people have to really process in their mind, because this book does not just help the high school student, help high school students, college students, and those who start businesses, because each chapter, it lends itself, it's like a building block. It starts off with just the understanding the value of money, understanding those habits that you have to have in general. You just keep building, you connected to every time you think about these certain apps that are available for budgets, tracking expense. A lot of businesses don't even think about budgeting. They get their business going, but they don't see where they are, budget to actual. Where am I? Designing a money flow plan, demanding good credit, and when you have credit, how do you build it? how do you actually improve upon using that credit? Like every step of the way, you have to process. I want to either go for funding or I want to do this, and how do I use that credit?
Yeah.
And it goes through all these different processes in this book as far as success. And then I do have a background in as a fraud examiner, believe it or not. As far as that's how I was recruited to the financial literacy team with the Accounting Aid Society. Is we had people that had a lot of money that thought they knew everything but didn't know how to keep it because they didn't know the money grabbers, the penalties, and the money scams. Because people often think it's just the money scams, but but it's other situations like consumers that come over and hand you a clipboard when you get a delivery. People often sign it before they even get their goods.
Okay.
Or services, when they come in and fix your furnace, they say, well, sign here first. And I found out through my research, some of them are told that, to get the signature. They come in at Home Depot. I said, well, wait a minute, you spent $400 or $500 and you didn't even open the box. They're gone. And in my book, I talk about the big print is for you and the little print is for them. Because in that little print, it often says that whatever this service is, you agree to it, or whatever your items is, they're all here. And you come to find when you open that box, you might have somebody else's order. The chaos of going through that is just headaches.
Well, even when you're talking about that, I was just thinking when you said about Cash App, right? Well, think about the cash advances, places.
Yes.
Seem like the same concept.
800% the interest rates they charge an enormous amount. There's more of them are closing, but they are still out there. They go and get the advances, and then they have a different way of doing them online, where they get people. They don't realize the outcome of how you get money, and you paying this huge amount of interest on. I have two now, young people, 18-year-olds that have gambling problems.
Wow.
And these gambling problems came from FanDuel and all of these different sports apps, because now they have an NBA. And what they're doing is they're giving you promotional funds to hook you. And that's the thing that you can't tell young
trouble.
People. Yeah, same way.
Today or yesterday.
Yeah, with the Detroit Lions.
With the Detroit Lions for playing. He was a football player.
Yeah.
But he bet on and that's a no-no.
Yeah,
you can't
basketball
bet on
games.
those.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what it hooks you to understanding that, like anything, it's that process of you can keep doing it until you have these problems. So
let me ask you, for the business strategies, you might not get this in depth in it, but how to set up the proper business matrix, the tri-matrix business, system of for-profit and non-profit and LLC.
I talk
so
about
that so that people need to have an LLC or an LLP for purchasing power.
Right.
So you can buy, if you have a business, I have a business. If we're purchasing widgets, we can buy the same nails, the same chicken, the same hair product, whatever it is, and we'll get it for a cheaper rate if we're buying it in bulk. The more we buy together, we can get it cheaper, where we don't do that because we're afraid to go into business with one another.
Yeah.
And then we wait on uncles and cousins to come, and that's why many businesses close down within the first 7 years, because they didn't set it up properly.
I hate to tell you, it's the first 5 years.
First 5, that's what I meant to say. First 5
I relaunched my book. When I wrote this book, I wrote it during COVID in set, and once people started telling me the value of it, because just what you said, I have a Follow Success is Your Business. It talks about, but first let's be clear, when people open the business, that you have to separate your business and personal. People just hate to do it. You cannot use that card that you go to Walmart or somewhere and buy your groceries and then want to separate the bill. And it's first of all, it's an accounting nightmare for the people doing your taxes. Secondly, the IRS likes to pick those things apart, that you're not consistent, and they'll call it a hobby after a while. So when you're serious about a business, and I know people that don't have a lot of money that have brilliant ideals and can flourish their business, can go on and on, but they have to learn the business traits. You separate your personal from business. You set up your LLC, your sub S, whichever way you think your accountants and your lawyers, you get together and you talk about this is the best ideal.
And you got to get partners.
You have to.
You've got to
You
get
have to
partners,
have
and
partners.
they can be different cultures.
Yes.
But we don't. Oftentimes, people of color don't want to do that, and we see them open up the hair salon, open up the chicken place, open up the nail salon, but they don't have partners. Well, I don't trust you, and I don't trust you, so I can't do it. But if you have LLC or LLP, then it doesn't matter whether you fall off. It's still gonna float. You know, we can still get some other partners, and we can still keep
Yeah,
purchasing
it's
Right.
true.
our items at a cheaper rate. If I'm purchasing 5,000 chickens or nails or hair pieces, then I'm going to get it
You
cheaper
have to.
than if I'm buying 50 or
Yeah.
100. And then they say, well, I need you to come and shop at my store, even though I'm charging more. Then I need you to just support me. No, I need you to figure out how to do the proper business model so I can get the same rate that I would if I went somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's what we have to do. We have to exercise. A lot of people, when I tell them in following success, read the people who are successful. How did they run their business? They got partners, and they sat down and said, well, we can take a corner of this market, like even in this area, and we can make it flourish. Just of us just could get together and just following. I have so many opportunities. I was one story. I was a licensed builder, and we all put money in to start buying rental properties. And the thing was, is we were supposed to leave the money in there, whatever money we get. So, Mom ain't been on no vacation in a while, so I need to get mine back. That didn't work. We had 2 or 3 of those stories, and it was 7 of us that were really into doing it when that started. That breakdown, you had the breakdown of the partnership. The value of it was to get a corner of the market. Rental properties in the 80s wasn't as popular as it became later on. We were really
Ahead of the
interested in doing
game.
that. We was
Yeah.
We're getting some of the nuisance abatement and repaired own homes too.
Yeah, and people
For
were
a
just
dollar.
like, yes. And so those are the type of things that you got to constantly think through. So when it comes to financial literacy, people will see it as a boring topic, but they don't realize how valuable it is, not just to people who don't have money, people that have money now speaking to us. Well, why am I losing this money? Big stories on people losing money because they're not paying attention. The people that they work with, they're not educating them.
Well, as a habit success strategist, how do you help those that come to you and their business are collapsing to have that success story?
I work with them like in questionnaires of where do you want to be? Visualize faith work with me in every aspect. You can visualize something, so how do we get there? When we have our conversations and we start building a plan, what I call a habit matrix, we talk about where's your business structure? Where do you want to be now? And after they identify that, just simple exercise. How do you, and if it's a partnership or if it's a relationship you're in, how do you put forth together in working this out? The money you set aside, the commitments you make to separating funds, putting 35%. That's the hardest thing for business owners, to put 35% every time they get paid. Because I don't play with voiding, because when I talk about keep it as yours, we talk about penalties, money grabbers, and scams. The money grabbers is the penalties that people don't realize. If you are LLC, you getting a 1099, when that money comes through, set that money aside because it's not yours. You can't play with it. You can't put it in the budget and say that I want to pay, because you already owe that money out. And then so what I do is just try to find out how consistent they are. Those who work, they'll find, okay, I never really thought of it this way. And once you lead somebody to something, they'll start being creative with their business and their business assets.
That's awesome.
Because that's what they need to do.
Well, we just want to encourage callers. Call in. We have an expert before us, a habit strategist, success strategist right before us, so you can ask questions to. You can get answers. I mean, I would tell you, he does cost.
313-355-6018.
And he has 2 books that he wants to raffle off or give away, actually.
Okay.
So what's the number
Call
again?
it 313-355-6018. 6018. Call and get your book. He's going to raffle them off. We'll give them to what kind of caller? The first caller, the second caller? 313-355.
The one who calls.
6018. Get your book, The Habit Effect.
Yes.
and the
Your life, your money.
Your Life, Your Money.
That's
Call
awesome.
in and get your book, 313-355-6018. Great strategies. It doesn't have to be for business, for your own personal finances, for your just for your legacy that you want to leave, maybe adding more insurance or other things to your portfolio. But just, the different strategies.
Yeah.
And I love that you said you got to see it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you teach people how to see themselves
Right.
in a certain way before moving forward. They've got to see that they can move forward.
People often come when they're embarrassed with their situation and say, the doom and gloom, the dead on arrival, that don't work with me. You have to tell me what you're going through and how we're going to go forward. So if you was doing that, stop it. So you go through this process of understanding that I really want to, because we got brilliant guys that have landscaping services, and they just do it because they're good at their skills, but never put a business plan, never worked it through. In business plans, you take them in chunks. You don't have to have an elaborate business plan. You have to have a mindset of this is what I'm going to do. So that plan that you create is your money flow plan. It's the plan that's going to get you there. So you put the unique things in there. And
you add on to your business plan. It's it's a what do you call it? A living. It keeps
it's a
growing,
document.
and
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
living
document that
document that keeps moving.
as you go
going.
in different stages, and then when you from the beginning you have a succession plan because you're not going to do it forever. You're going to get to a point where you say, I want to pass it on
Yeah.
to the legacy line. You want that generational wealth. So when I write my succession plan, I want to have this, and if it's a company or somebody that's going to buy it, you could be on the board. Whatever that succession plan, it'll be built into your plan. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to start learning now because, unfortunately, United States is only 57% literate. The country is only 33% financially illiterate. So what happens is there was a big financial literacy came because Congress decided April should be Financial Literacy Month, and we could promote it. Jumpstart is part of the Federal Reserve. They put these plans out, so that's how they build that.
And you have a program coming. You have an event coming up.
Yes.
The Entrepreneurs Forum Resilience, May 19th,
Yes.
2023, at the Hollywood Casino that used to be called the Greektown
Greektown.
Casino,
Right.
which is now the Hollywood Casino at Greektown. And again, that's May the 19th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Detroit. You're one of the speakers. And if people want to become a part of that or go, is it open to the public?
Yeah, and this is the National Entrepreneur Association is putting it on. I'm just one of many panels.
Yes.
It's going to be full, this
And
year.
so they can go to
Resilience and talking about-
nationalentrepreneurs.org.
Yes. I'm talking about funding, how to fund your business. I'll be the moderator. There are going to be brilliant people on that panel to really tell you how to fund your money. You can do credit cards. You can do this. People don't realize SBA is not as hard as they think. So we're going to talk about that. They're going to talk about some other ways of getting your business funding. But
So go to
That's
nationalentrepreneurs.org and get your ticket today. Is it a ticketed event? Is it
yeah,
free?
it is a ticket event.
Is it
Yeah, it's like $97, I believe.
okay?
Yeah.
So nationalentrepreneurs.org. It's May the 29th, 2023.
19.
May 19th.
May
I'm looking
19th.
at it saying May 19th, and it's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Hollywood Casino at Greektown. So go and learn, further learn how to different strategies on building wealth, maintaining your wealth, and growing it.
Yes,
There's no
it's gonna
such
be a
thing
lot.
as you have enough money.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to ask you, how do the callers get in touch with you? So, callers, we just want you to have a way to get in touch with Michael Wynn.
I'll
Who is-
call in and get one of those books. Can I get one of the books?
Habits of Stress Strategists.
Habit
Yes.
success strategy.
Yeah.
MichaelWynn.com. and you could.
That's
actually,
real easy.
Yeah,
MichaelWynn.com.
And
Right.
that's WYNN, MICHEALWY,
AEL.
MICHAELWYNN.
And if you think another way of Coach Win, it's WIN. You can just CoachWin.com, but
Okay.
it's WIN.
So you
My business is Coach Win, so
Okay.
you can do
spell it for us
CoachWin.com.
so they can.
CoachWin.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That may
Coach
be
Win.
easier.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that is.
CoachWynn.com. Okay,
But
good.
I do that to say because some people when they hear Win, there is Coach Win WYNN.
Oh.
Actually, you could use either way.
And
but
that's
it
how
still
you
get
spell
to me.
your last
Oh,
name,
good.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get to me either way.
with
Coach.
the win or the win. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
That's
that's
great.
good that you grab both of those for
Yes.
people so they can't, no mistakes.
Right.
No mistakes here. If you either
I-
way
they
you
gon-
spell
they
it,
gon'
you're
get
gonna
it to
find
me.
me.
That's right.
That's wonderful.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, are there some? Well, let me see. Well, actually, we have more questions that we could ask
Yeah.
because normally we're breaking at this time. So, what about change? Right. So the changes that people need to make in their life, or desiring, and sometimes may find it difficult to make those type of changes. How do you coach them through accepting change?
Accepting change comes with accountability. A lot of people don't realize
Oh,
that accountability start with them. Not just saying, okay, I'm an accountable partner. What are you gonna? How do you be accountable for that change? Because when you go through that whole process, you can feel you really change. The hardest thing is to be overwhelmed and you can't find a way out of it. Most of the time, we just pile stuff on. And we don't really take that little bite that we're supposed to, or get what we're supposed to, or say no when we're supposed to say no. So those things have a greater impact when you learn how to do those consistently. You know, and I'm saying I want to change. I have to change what I'm doing. People realize if it's a relationship, if it's money, doing the same thing, it's not going to change until you make it happen.
Yeah, I love that, the accountability.
You have to be
And what are some
consistent.
things that you encourage them to do to be accountable?
You know, and focus on again a positive structure. Focus on the affirmations. Impactful affirmations start with don't say it. You say it, you do it, and at the end of the day, you evaluate what you did. And
Okay.
you throw that piece of paper in the trash can because that day is over, and start over the next
Oh,
day.
I love
Okay,
that.
yeah,
I love
right.
that.
You know, that mental piece of paper that you say, okay, I didn't get where I want, but the next day, I understand in order to do this, because we all know what we did or didn't do, right?
That's
So,
true. Very
that's
true. That's
Yeah.
And you
great.
start all over for the next day.
Start all over for the next
The
day.
next the strategy for that day. You don't beat
Yeah.
yourself up
No.
if you whatever you did or didn't do,
No,
but
right,
you got something done.
right.
So revel in that success.
It messes with your going forward, right?
Yeah.
So you have to really feel comfortable about.
I love that throwing the paper away because
I do
really you
too.
can toss it over your back because it's over.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do anything about it.
But
What
you got
didn't
new
happen,
opportunity for the
Yeah.
next day.
and you can move forward in that. That's great. That's great. Any parting words that
Well,
You wanna lead
I am
today.
a true believer in habits. I believe habits, your habits is your level of success. You have to really build this mantra around you. So when you get up every day, it's a loving effect. Whoever you care for. We used to do the thing that she know I love her, or you have this way of saluting your loved ones when you go and you just take it for granted. And then I talk with men about chivalry. You don't know how important it is to go and open the lady's car, your mother's car, your grandmother's car, and you don't just do it to make her feel good. You're doing it because that's part of what you should be.
Yeah.
So those things is just building a habit matrix. I just believe your habits will determine your level of success.
Yes. Yes.
that's great.
That is great. You've
Well,
got a
thank
lot
you.
of positive strategies
Yeah,
and
wonderful.
tips and things that you've shared with us today that people can do. Habits that we can start right away and to see change being affected in
Yes.
our lives. And we all have areas that we want to grow in.
That's right.
We're all, I don't care where we are, there's another level of being better at that,
Right.
Yes.
for ourselves. So
Well, habits don't lie.
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
since nobody called in, can I get a book
Yes,
and
you
you
Yes.
can sign it for me?
Absolutely, I
Yes.
sure will.
Well, you all missed.
That's
I
right.
gave you opportunity. But we thank you for calling in, and we tune in next week. Who do we have have next week?
Cara Thomas.
Cara Thomas, who is, what is she going to be talking about?
Well, it is substance prevention.
Prevention.
It's Prevention Week, and so she's going to be
Wonderful.
talking about Prevention Week, and
I'm
she.
Michelle White.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Oh.
For him.
And so we just invite you to keep joining us because next week is Prevention Week, and we are celebrating mental health awareness.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Community updates and enlightened hearts, and we'll see you again next Wednesday. Or there's a caller, but you can't have this book. He already put my name in it. Okay, caller.
Okay.
Caller, are you there? Can you hear us, caller? Are you there? Okay.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next Wednesday.
You spell it C-H-E-L-L-E?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're
Hello?
welcome, ma'am.
Hello?
She was having some phone
Yeah, I think so.
problems. I
hello?
think he doesn't need to do it by himself.
No, I can give it to somebody, or I can take it.
Okay, I'll just sign it.
Hello?
You mean the other book? I'm gonna read mine. Thank
Hello?
you.